Hello and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. Here at Updog Sports Talk, we deliver honest, fan-focused coverage that spotlights the teams, athletes, and communities that are often overlooked by mainstream sports media because your team has a story worth telling. And in that spirit, tonight we are beginning our college football conference preview series. Tonight's episode will be the MEAC preview. I'm looking at the smallest but definitely not the least conference in college football. This conference is always a lot of fun because it basically, when the conference race is basically a 5-week sprint at the end of the year to see who wins it, and anything can happen, it feels like. So diving right in, the Delaware State Hornets. Deshaun Jackson, yes, that Deshaun Jackson, completely revamped this team in 1 year. They came so close to making the Celebration Bowl, winning the MEAC in year one. Now they're looking to take it a step further. I think this team looks really exciting once again. I think they're going to be really strong running the ball. And when it comes to their defense, I think you've got a pretty promising secondary here, especially all MEAC defensive back Wayne Favors is really going to help this team once again compete for the top of the conference. My biggest concern for Delaware State will just be kind of replacing a lot of guys. Like they have to deal with a lot of portal movement in and out. They tend to lose some. They lost their star running backs, and now we'll also see a new quarterback in the mix. Noah Brannick is projected to be the starter there. He was transferred out of William & Mary. He will need to immediately get this offense going so teams can't focus on the run game. So that'll be something to watch there for Delaware State. Ultimately, success for them. I mean, being in contention for the MEAC title is already a success for Delaware State. It's really cool seeing how quickly this program has evolved under Deshaun Jackson's watch. But this year, success might look like a MEAC championship and a berth in the Celebration Bowl. They came so close last year in year one under Deshaun Jackson. They're hoping this year to make it a step further. So I think that's what really success looks like for them is getting to that next level and winning the conference, which you'll see there's a lot of teams that have that expectation. So next we have the Howard Bison. They have a really good running back in Eden James leading their backfield, so I think he's going to be someone that is well worth the price of admission to watch. This is a completely new team otherwise, new coaching staff coming in, and now they'll have a pretty rough non-conference schedule. Howard will face a really rough non-conference schedule. They have Alabama A&M, who is one of the better teams in the SWAC to start out the year. They have Richmond, another really tough FCS team. And then they have two FBS opponents. They have Indiana, the defending national champs. That's not a favorable matchup. And then they also have to play Rutgers. They have the rivalry game against Hampton, which is maybe a little bit of a break depending on how Hampton looks. And then they also have to play Penn, who really revamped their team with a new head coach and everything. So you're looking at a really difficult slate, a lot of trial by fire for a lot of new parts for Howard. So success for them, I think it just looks like surviving the early portion, being at least competitive in that 5-week MEAC sprint, and getting ready to set the foundation to contend next year is what we're looking at for Howard. Then we look at the Morgan State Bears. They have a defensive line that is really good, really deep. Justin Dutton leads the way here, but they have multiple preseason all-conference selections on this unit. And again, like they are deep, they are aggressive. This is a tone setter for this team. So I'm very excited to see what that does leading their defense once again. Morgan State has been very good at defense the last few years. The biggest concern is the offense. Their offense just can never seem to get that consistency you need in order to win this conference. Like they'll be able to get the job done sometimes. The defense keeps them in a lot of games, but ultimately the offense just can't ever seem to get that drive at the end of the game that they need. So that is going to be where they're going to need to flip that this year in order to contend for the MEAC title. Success for them looks like being in that MEAC title race. Maybe not necessarily winning it, although I do think internally that probably is their expectation. But I think at the very least, if Morgan State is right there in the thick of it, maybe just a game out of the MEAC title in the Celebration Bowl, I think they can consider that a pretty successful season. But ultimately, they are definitely hoping to win the conference. So yeah. It's all about the offense for Morgan State. We go to Norfolk State. They have Michael Vick as their head coach. I think a lot of people forget that because this conference, outside of a few ESPNU games every year, this conference does not receive enough coverage. And so it was a very overlooked headline that Michael Vick was now Norfolk State's head coach. It did not go great in year one. We'll get to that in a moment, but this team, he's kind of revamping the roster a little bit. It's a little bit of a slower build than what Deshaun Jackson has had going on at Delaware State. But I think you're looking at some really good talent coming in this year, especially on the offense, and really kind of get this thing going a little bit for Michael Vick. The biggest concern is what are they going to look at like on the offensive line? Are they going to be able to have the big guys in the trenches to help them against the tougher teams on their schedule? That remains to be seen. They are definitely very unproven up there at this moment. And of course, also, they just need to get better at avoiding mistakes. Last year, they oftentimes shot themselves in the foot far too frequently. So this year, you'll be looking for Norfolk State to kind of clean it up a little bit. And success for them probably looks like getting a few more wins, being more competitive in the MEAC race, and ultimately, I think even if they finish with somewhere around near a 500 record, I think they could look at that and say that this thing is moving in the right direction. We go to North Carolina Central now, and this has been one of the standard bearers in this conference. They are usually always right there in contention to win it. They have Chance Peterson leading their offense. This passing game in general just is electric to watch. So they are very, very strong, being able to throw the ball all over. The offense in general is really good. And then their coach knows how to win games. For the defense, and this is going to be their biggest concern, is like they need to be a little bit stronger on the defensive front. Sometimes some of the better teams at running the ball can take advantage of them in these situations. So we'll see what they have there. But this North Carolina Central team, the expectation is always to win the MEAC for this program. They have not won it in a couple of years, and I think that's kind of, losing to the next team that we'll be talking about here, South Carolina State, has been something that they have not enjoyed. There's a lot of beef between those two programs. So beating South Carolina State and winning the MEAC this year, that is the expectation for North Carolina Central. They're looking to get back to the celebration, which, like I mentioned, South Carolina State, looking at them, this is the last team on the list here. The MEAC is pretty brief when you only got 6 teams, but South Carolina State has a very good, dominant defense. They are tremendous on that side of the ball. This is a program with a proud history of that too. They put players in the NFL from their defense from time to time. So you're going to expect that defense to look good again. On offense, they're going to need to they need to figure out who is going to be their quarterback. You have 2 quarterbacks. They say you have none. It looks like they have an open competition at the moment. So South Carolina State will need to figure out who their guy is going to be to lead the offense this year, and that way they can keep this train rolling. South Carolina State, of course, coming off of back-to-back MEAC titles, and last year with that incredible comeback win over Prairie View to win the Celebration Bowl. I'm very excited for this team. They're definitely going to be right there in the mix. And, of course, the expectation for them, success for South Carolina State looks like another MEAC title and another Celebration Bowl, another HBCU National Championship. This program is just churning at a very high level under Dennis Berry at the moment. So this is definitely a team that you're looking out for in the MEAC. And going to my sleeper pick, I got Morgan State as my sleeper. I think this team their defense has kept them in a lot of games. Like I said earlier, they just need a little bit more on offense to all of a sudden become a contender. So I could see that happening. I could see them figuring that out. Maybe one star player emerges for them, and all of a sudden you've got Morgan State right at the top of the MEAC and potentially even going to the Celebration Bowl. So that's my sleeper team. But I am going to go with South Carolina State once again to repeat. They are the champs until proven otherwise. So yeah, I got South Carolina State winning it. Thank you for tuning in to this preview. This is probably going to be the shortest one, seeing there was only 6 teams in the conference, but be sure to tune into our other previews here on our channel on Updog Sports Talk on YouTube, and then also available on your favorite podcasting platform. And be sure to check out, we have a lot of preview articles up on Substack that includes some FBS and FCS teams and a lot more. So thank you for tuning in and have a good night.